Hi, everyone. I'm Leslyn Keith, and I'm here with my friends and colleagues. Wow, we're four of us here together again. So we have Catherine Sale. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Leslyn.
And Gail Straker is here. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Leslyn. It's good to see you. It's good to see you too, Catherine and Siobhan.
And also we have Siobhan Huggins. Welcome, Siobhan.
Hello.
So, and all of us work with Lipedema Project and Lipedema Simplified, and we're so happy to be here with you every Friday to, just as Gail says, schmooze, and also talk about what's new and coming up with lipedema. So, should we start with the schmoozing first?
Well, what we came up with over the boot camp is that Gail and I are the schmoozy, kind of touchy-feely, we cry a lot, and you two are data-driven scientists. And
I
we all
cry
get along
sometimes.
So well.
I cry sometimes. Usually with stuff that's coming from you, Catherine. You always make me, oh no, emotions.
But
What's
anyway.
that water falling out of my eye?
It burns.
So, but we just wound up really an action-packed month. And I think there's actually a couple more dribbling activities that are happening even in the first days of July. But June was Lipedema Awareness Month. And especially by Catherine and Gail, they led just a tremendous amount of activities that culminated on a 3-day, huge thing on the boot camp that happened the last weekend of June. Oh, yes. And thank you for those of you that are posting. Please say where you're listening to us from. We always love to hear where people are in the world. And if you have any questions, things you would like us to talk about, as Debbie just did. But first, I wanted to give Catherine and Gail a chance to just give us a little bit about all the fabulous things that happened during Lipedema Awareness Month.
I think that, well, first of all, our tribe membership group is really remarkable. I mean, it has been since we started it just before the pandemic, like a week before. We didn't know the pandemic was going to move us into shutdown. So we actually started the membership group so that we would have each other. And I think the big shift has been that we have a lot of information. We've done a lot. Leslyn's written 2 books. Siobhan has been really delving into and studying the underlying causality. I mean, it's not causality, but the underlying mechanisms around lipedema. And Gail and I have been working around the whole notion of community. So we have a lot of information, and Dr. Carmody, who's our medical advisor as well. And so, but we wanted to do something different. And the thing that I think was the most successful for me about the whole month is, first of all, we gave everybody access to a lot of our tribe activities, but we had a lot of conversation, a lot of interaction, a lot of small groups, breakout sessions, where lipedema ladies got together and brainstormed together around different topics. Gail, you did a lot of it along with me. Why don't you chat a little bit about your experience? And Debbie's coming from London. And Debbie, don't go away. As soon as we talk a little bit about this, Leslyn and I will address that, because we were at a conference where it was reported what was going on with NICE.
Okay, so thank you, Catherine. We had a month, and it was crazy because when I looked at the calendar, I realized we had 3 days off in June. So, but what we did is we opened it up as though anybody who wanted to attend could be like a tribe member, could be like a membership, having the membership option. And with that, we had we did the Miranda, the morning stretch. that we do 5 days a week. We opened that up to the Lipedema Awareness Month attendees. We were able to have coaches corners where people could come in and just talk to our coaches. I can't say one-on-one because there are groups about 10 to 20 per coach in breakout rooms. We were able to do meditation together. We had a couple of pain clinics. We all watched Leslie's lives on Thursday and then had question and answers following that. And it all culminated into a weekend, a 3-day weekend, which we thought, oh, it's just 3 days, right? Yeah, it was 5 hours each day, followed by another coach's corner and question answers. And so we were able to meet so many of you just because we opened up the community for a month and to give you a flavor of what we do year round and to give us some idea of what you are looking for so that we can continue with our programs.
And so, listen, do you remember Sherry Fetzer talking about what happened? Here's the question, and I think it's one that a number of people, we have several people from the UK. Steph is here from Yorkshire, and Debbie's here from London. And hold on a minute, I just put a question there. So there are all these new rules from NICE in the UK that affect surgery in the UK. Do you recall what Sherry had shared with us and some of what was said?
I do not recall what their plan was. I don't know if you do, Catherine, but this was a concern. Anytime that your options are restricted from you, that is a concern. I mean, you should always have the choices, and everybody has their own choices that they're going to make. I always try to go for non-invasive measures, but there are reasons to have surgery, and we shouldn't be removing that option from people, at least to explore that and see if they're a good candidate and if they need to move forward. But Catherine, do you remember some of the details from that?
Well, only that there was an investigation because of complications that resulted in the death of several patients, I think. Mm-hmm. And so what they did is they shut down the surgery. And so some of what I've heard is that people are now going to Germany and other places because for the time being, it's not available anymore in the UK. And but you know, the best person to contact is Sherry Fetzer at Lipedema UK. They're an organization, and she is the one who presented the information. We were all presenting at a conference in London, virtually.
Virtually.
We were virtual, but it was in London. And so, you know, it's complicated. Mm-hmm. So much about lipedema is complicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, it's very individual. And speaking about also about Lipedema Awareness Month and those individual ways of handling your own lipedema, Siobhan had some discoveries during Lipedema Awareness Month and some of our little focus groups, our little breakout groups. And she's decided to try something for July. You want to talk about that, Siobhan?
Yeah, so we had these little focus groups of just 3 to 4 people during some of the activities for Lipedema Awareness Month, and particularly the boot camp. And I participated in some of those, and we ended up talking about how we can improve our own self-care in ways that maybe we could improve on things. That could be nutrition, it could be other things. And mine was that I don't wear compression gear consistently. And especially with the stuff that I'm working now for my presentation at Keto Fest, which is about a working model of lipedema, it's like, this is important. Like we knew that already, and then I knew that already, but this is only cementing that in terms of preventing progression and preventing leg fatigue and stuff like that. And someone from the comments actually asked if it's common to have pain at the bottom half of the legs when they're walking for even a few minutes. And yeah, I can experience that too. And compression gear actually helps. It helps, you know, even if I don't have active swelling, I think it helps get the fluid moving, helps get more oxygen into the legs, all of that. So for July, I have a little to-do list, and it has one thing on each day, which is wear compression. And the reason I don't do it more consistently is just because that I have very sensitive skin, and the texture on the compression gear can irritate it in some cases. And I suspect part of that will just be helped by doing it more consistently, making sure I'm moisturizing beforehand. So I even have a little reward system where each day I wear compression, I gain like $2 towards something I'm saving up for, because I had been talking to my partner, and I was like, I'm very reward motivated. If I want to do things, I have to like get something in return. So that's something that I'll be trying, and I'll update each Friday on how well I'm doing as a bit of accountability, because I'll definitely need it.
Yeah, that is a great thing to do, Siobhan, with the rewards and everything. But I would also like to ask you to also talk about how the response you're having to the compression. Is it digging in anywhere? What's going on with your skin reactions? All that kind of stuff, because I know this is something that other people are also battling with, trying to figure out which kind of compression to use, and they're trying to figure out how to, you know, get over some of these barriers that make it difficult to wear compression. I remember one time you were giving a presentation, you were trying out some, I think it was some trunk compression, and pressure on your trunk
made it really hard to talk.
Even faster than you normally talk. So I mean, there could be unexpected consequences to your compression as you're trying to figure out the right one.
My suggestion is don't try new compression gear when you're about to give a presentation or anything that requires people seeing you or interacting with you at all, because it's like trying new anything. You have no idea what it's going to do. So that was one of those moments where it was like, oh, I should have not done that. But yeah, one of the issues with my skin actually is that I have dermographism. So when there's pressure or something digging into the skin, it'll cause a histamine reaction, which can make my skin like raise, welt, and then become really itchy. Right. So I'm trying to figure out what to do about that, and I'll kind of report back as I learn more. Someone from the comments also asked, what is Keto Fest and where is it and when is it? So Keto Fest is in New London, Connecticut, and it'll be on the 17th. It'll be the Saturday. 16th. It'll be on the 16th of this month. New London, Connecticut, and it's basically like a big party about keto. So I'm going to be there. Catherine and Gail are both going to be coming. I'll be one of the speakers along with Dave Feldman, Amber O'Hearn, Eric Westman, and Nina Teichels. But it's also beyond the presentations. It's like there's going to be food demonstrations. It's going to be a bunch of people hanging out and having fun. It's one of my favorite conference-y keto type of things, just because it's so chill and just a festival of fun. Like, here's all the things we can enjoy about keto, and being around your people, and the local restaurants sometimes participate. So that's what that is. So I'm working on a presentation for that, and it'll be about lipedema. So that's pretty exciting. I'll get to kind of talk to people about it and raise some more awareness on it.
And it's so close to Boston. I can drive there in 2 hours. And it's so close to Idaho. Gail's coming too.
Yeah, it's so close to Colorado.
Yeah, Connecticut is only halfway, 3/4 of the way across the country. So Gail, instead of driving, she's flying.
Yeah, I'll actually be road tripping with my mom over the weekend to head back to Indiana, where her place is, and then I'll be taking the train with Dad to New York, and then a ferry. It's the whole thing. The only thing I'm missing is the plane, which will be on the way back. But it'll be some family hangout time, and my dad will also be coming, and it'll be his first keto event, so that'll be very exciting. He'll get to hang out and eat good food.
Excellent. Excellent.
This will be my
We-
very first keto conference or low carb conference.
Oh,
Yay.
Very excited.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. I remember my first one, and it was a life-changing experience in many ways, actually, because I first met Dave there, and first met Amber there, and first met a whole bunch of people there, and that's where everything started for me in terms of research, at least.
Which one was it? Gerber's diet?
No, it was Keto Fest 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is also like returning home for me in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah, that's full circle.
Yeah.
So, Lesson, there's a whole bunch of conversation going on with people in compression.
Yes. And
so-
I think you opened up a can of worms here because, Siobhan, this is, I think, a huge issue for people with lipedema. It's recommended that you use compression to help control the symptoms, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle to find out what's right for you, what's going to be. I mean, you want to find something that's going to make you feel better, not make you have to struggle more. And a lot of people are posting, things these are issues that come up with compression that it's not very fun. And so I'm looking at Steph says, I'm waiting for back surgery and I have so much pain in my butt and hamstrings. The compression makes my hamstrings hurt more. It's a problem. Yes. And it may be that during this time, you're leading up to getting a surgery, just the act of getting the compression on can be a strain on your back. And it may be that this is not going to be the time to wear it now. What else can you do if you're not going to be using compression? Because maybe you'll suffer the consequences of not having it. Well, can you get in a pool? That's wonderful for your back as well. And that can give you gentle compression for your body to be in the water. So, and some of those pools have that disabled access, either a gentle ramp to walk down or a water chair can be taken down that ramp. Sometimes they have that swinging over little chair you sit on that then lowers you into the water. So check to see what you have in your area. I think getting in the water is going to be the best thing, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere where it's hot right now. Getting into the water might be a good place to be while you're waiting for your back surgery. Anybody have other suggestions for Steph?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it for me has been experimentation, which is a whole process in itself because compression gear is not inexpensive. I was thinking it'd be nice if there were like a compression exchange of I tried this on and it was too big for me or too short for me or whatever. And then I can kind of offload the stuff that I have to someone else and pick up something else. That would be kind of interesting to explore. And I've also heard of just people making custom compression gear in some cases, adding panels to kind of expand it. So that might be another option if you're more on the crafty side.
Yeah, and definitely using the more elastic materials because the stretchier stuff is going to be lighter compression, but it's also going to be easier to get on. Gail, you had something?
Right. I was going to say, I know some of our community members have learned to order compression that their needs are. For example, because of Dottie having hard time to use her hands with rheumatoid arthritis, Jean wears thigh highs, so she can get the thigh high up, and then she gets crotchless bike shorts because she can get those on. But the whole entire trying to get both legs into a pair of leggings or stockings and then getting it all the way up, it was impossible for her. But she could get one leg on up to her thigh, then the other leg on up to her thigh, and then the crotchless biking shorts. And the reason she went crotchless biking shorts is because during the day she couldn't get them pulled down, right? So then she wore her panties over the top of those. Now I know that's just layer after layer, but it was one workaround for her. The other thing that I do want to say is if getting the compression on is keeping you from putting on the compression, they do have sometimes they have wraps, but they
Velcro.
also Velcro wraps, but then there is also maybe for right now this summer, that compression might be too heavy. So go a little lighter, a little bit more pliable. If you can, it's better to wear a lighter compression than no compression at all, as long as you get a good fit. And so it might be something that's more doable until you can get a nice custom fit. There was one question on this lesson. I hear people talk all the time about knee highs. What is your feeling about knee highs?
Well, it's knee highs are appropriate for some people, but it typically for lipedema, the swelling and the issues are going much higher up your leg, and to have it stop below your knee, then you could be pushing stuff to just around your knee and actually can increase your problem at your knee and into your thigh. So, but again, talking about Gail's way of layering and piecing it out, sometimes using a knee high with a waist high capri, so there's a little bit of overlap on the, the area just under your knee, then that's easier to get on and you still have the coverage, but be really careful of that constriction just below the knee. I've had patients that end up really ballooning up on the knee and the thigh when they did not cover high enough.
Yeah, I had problems with knee highs because they would cut in, and I ended up having some vein issues due to improperly fitting knee highs. Probably if they would have been properly fit, I probably wouldn't have had the issues. I don't know.
Rosemary's talking about she's having trouble getting the right size compression knee high. I'm not sure what pedal pusher socks are. Is that just the little footies? I'm not sure what those are, but they do. I believe that Medi USA and also Sigvaris have extra wide calves that come in off the shelf sizes, so it's not custom. So you need to find a good compression garment fitter, usually at your medical supply or your lymphedema therapist, someone who knows about compression garments, and they have all the various companies that they work with, and they know the ones that have the extra wide calf. So you don't have to get custom.
Right. And I also,
that's a bunch of good things that I'm thinking about now. Like, oh, I should look into that.
Well, and
Julie wants to know about some brands of capris.
I like Wear Ease has some nice capris they're compression capris. They look kind of like spandexy exercise pants. They don't look medical. They're black. Any others that you guys have used?
Yeah, I believe I have some from Bioflex, I believe. And I had ordered them because I'm a shorter person, but then it turned out my legs were too long. So those are one of the ones I need to find someone to get them to. But yeah, Bioflex has some for sure.
Yes.
And I used to wear sports leggings before I got my first pair of CZ's Alice. I used to wear sports, and I just had to shop around and find a good fit and that support before I was able to get CZ's Alice to fit me properly. Go ahead, Catherine. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say I like Solidea Medical, but yes. I wear leggings.
Yes.
I like to wear them and not stop, because when I was wearing the capris, the fluid was pooling in my lower legs. And so that's why I like to have it go from the foot all the way up. And Leela just posted and said she received a normal lymphoscintigraphy. What else would cause my legs to swell?
Okay, so this is really interesting because I just reviewed a paper that just came out in April of this year. And I'll probably do a research update Facebook Live on this, because I think this is just exactly what you're thinking about, Lita, because what they're talking about is in stage 1 and stage 2 lipedema, we actually have some abnormalities in the lymphatics, but what they are is they're dilated, meaning they're bulged, and they actually pump fluid faster than healthy controls. And what they're thinking is because of the inflammation from lipedema, that the vessels become distended, but the lymphatics are working like the dickens to take care of all this extra inflammation and move that fluid out. And then if you progress, doesn't mean you will, but if you do progress to stage 3, then that's when the lymphatics start failing. They can't keep up with that. So I thought that was very interesting that, you can have a normal lymphoscintigraphy in stage 1 and stage 2 because these vessels are actually pumping faster than they normally do. So great question, Leela.
I want to add something because wherever you are, right now it's summer in the US. If you are anywhere where it's summer right now, it's humid. And with the humidity comes swelling.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to rain, swelling.
Yep.
If the humidity goes above a certain place, swelling.
Mm-hmm.
When the humidity goes down, the swelling doesn't go away right away.
Mm-hmm.
It needs lymphatic massage or some kind of manual dry brushing. It needs something to move it. So this is the worst season for those of us.
Yeah, but it speaks to, there is swelling with lipedema at every stage. It's just that your lymphatics are functioning at those earlier stages, but you still have swelling. So this doesn't mean, and there is, all kinds of that inflammation, the weather, the barometric pressure, your physical activity, the medications you're taking, all these things contribute to your swelling, even though you have normally functioning lymphatics.
If you're traveling, if you're in a car sitting for 4 hours or 3 hours or even 2 hours, and then you go to the bathroom and get back in the car again, or if you're flying, all of these conditions can contribute to the swelling.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we unfortunately have done it again. We went way over our time we're supposed to go over on these, but wow, what a great discussion. We just love all of you guys being here with us and contributing to the discussion and asking your questions. It kind of tells us what we need to do some webinars on, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
One more thing that I think is a really good question. Why does heat cause swelling? That is a good question. Leslyn, why does heat cause swelling?
Oh, I'm also going to have Siobhan respond to this, but one reason is that when it's hot, your body wants to cool itself off. And so it is going to be distending those blood vessels and trying to send stuff to the skin and to let it, let yourself sweat and let it evaporate to cool you off. But it definitely, when we have those blood vessels being distended, we actually get increased permeability and lots more blood leaking into the tissues. This is more fluid that your maybe already stressed lymphatics need to evacuate. And so, and it also can have to do with changes in your electrolyte balance. We do swell when we get depleted in electrolytes. And when you start sweating to cool your body off, you're losing salt. It's so interesting that you lose salt and then you swell, right? So when we're low salt, we can swell as well. Siobhan, what else causes to swell because of heat?
Well, this isn't something I had looked into specifically, but just intuitively, I had figured it's what you had said, that when you get hot, your capillaries end up dilating so that you're bringing more blood to the surface to kind of offset that heat. And you can see it in other animals. Their ears will turn pinker, things like that, just to get that off. But unfortunately, in lipedema, when that happens, we may not be able to evacuate that fluid properly, like you said. So the overwhelmed lymphatics may become even more overwhelmed, and it results in swelling. And it's something I hadn't realized until my diagnosis. The diagnosing physician was asking, "Do you get heat-induced edema?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I try not to go out into the heat because it'll make me really nauseous, and it feels like my throat is constricting, and it feels like I'm being strangled." And she was like, "All right, yes." I was like, "Oh, that's what that is." Yeah, check. So yeah, I would imagine it's just because of that natural process, and normally it wouldn't be an issue, but with lipedema, it's kind of adding an issue on top of a sensitive area already.
Yes. And now we've really gone over our time limit. I just so wonderful being here with all of us.
We've never gone this long.
I know, it's because of all of you out here participating with us. It's such a fun thing to do on Fridays, and we hope you'll join us again next Friday when we'll be talking again about what's new and coming up with lipedema. There's always more than what we can talk about in our short time together. Thanks for being here, everybody.
And I know many of you are already in our membership group, the Tribe, but there is wherever, up or down, there is a link. We closed it last night, but I think it's still open because we have our orientation at 6:30 tonight, which is in an hour and a half. We have our orientation. So if you haven't already, come join us.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
See you next time.